Hello, Froggy here, and today I'll be showing you how to break the box in Portico in King's Fall. There's some fairly interesting stuff out there. So anyways, let's get started. The Autorez here is a little tricky. There are a few triggers you need to hit first. One of them is on this ship. I don't know if you have to stand on it for any length of time, but you do need to go by it. That'll be the first of 3 different checkpoints we need to hit before we can trigger the Autorez. There's actually a 4th, but it's not terribly relevant for this one. So just below me is trigger number 2. It also activates the green barrier, which is why Henry has gone ahead. As you can see, after I drop here, the barrier comes up, and the ads spawn, but that shouldn't be a problem. At this point, the best thing you can do is leave. The 3rd trigger is an everyone must be present trigger. So as long as you have a fire team member that is not by this lift, the lift won't activate. But as soon as they leave, the lift should power on. And there we go. The Autorez is primed. Now, after we have set up our interdimensional res breach, you just have to have your second player walk into the lift. And as soon as you reach the top and the 4th and final trigger for the objective update, you will trigger the Autorez. Now let's go set up the IRB. This time, instead of going forwards, we're going to head back into the crux. Corolla managed to identify a suitable IRB location. It is a little tricky to hit, but not too bad. We could hit the previous load walking back here, but I haven't figured out a way to die to it yet, so don't know if we'll be able to box break the first zone. But anyways, there's actually nothing preventing you from flying right out back here. A very easy out of map, even if there's not much to see. If you go around to the back, there's a little platform you can stand on, but that's not what we're going for. If you look at the bottom of my screen, you'll see a little sawtooth thing, and we need to set our ghost on the left half of it. The right half of it would be a death zone in Portico. Unfortunately, there is a pushback that prevents us from getting on top of it, but that kind of tilts with the ship, so the lower we go, the closer we can get to it. That's why I'm kind of going slow there, and you can see I just barely managed it. It might take a couple of tries, but once you get a feel for the pushback, it's not too bad. Now we just need to die to the load. I've got 40 sword ammo, which should be enough. I can't generate any more without resetting my ghost point there, of course. You're going to want to climb up on the side here. Either the left or the right should work, but I've only tried out on the left, so your mileage may vary there. You're going to want to skip the load zone and hit it from the far side while you're against both the wall and the ceiling. This is probably high enough, but might as well go a little bit higher, since if we fail, it is a little bit annoying to set up again. I'm just going to fly along the roof here. Naturally, if I were walking, I would have already hit the load zone. It's a pretty long one. And now I just swing against the wall and the roof, and there we go. At this point, I just have to wait for Henry to take the elevator. And there we go. Any moment now. Ta-da! Now that I'm out here, I can go ahead and get Henry's res when he does the same thing. He'll have the added benefit of being able to see my current location on radar. You show up even if you're in different zones. It's quite handy. It means he doesn't necessarily need to look down at the platform. Now we just have to wait for him to do the death to load. And now we'll see if he was too far to the side. Cutting it a little bit close, but looks like that was fine. You don't actually need 2 people from here, but you're definitely going to want to. Since I always end up getting asked in the comments, here's a quick demo on ammo genning. Just going to want to set your ammo to low while alive, and in case you're wondering, that's how close the death barrier and pull are. Then set your ammo back to high before you're back alive. And now it's time for the long climb. 2 people makes us go twice as fast, but it's still quite lengthy, so I'll just give you a few clips of it with some suitable music. And at last we're at the top. If you're wondering how long that actually took, longer than you've been watching this. Probably about 12 minutes. With one person, it would probably take about 24. I'd recommend ricochet rounds from this point forwards because it's really useful for finding terrain that is likely to be solid. You can see that I am using it to check surfaces before I walk across. You won't fall all the way down in most locations, although sometimes you might want that instead of falling partway and having to climb back up. Lots of lighting changes here as well. You will occasionally get pretty nice views of the various jumping puzzles and whatnot below. It is a long way to get to the end. You can see that is where we started off for the ship jumping puzzle area. The top here is rather extensive. It goes on for quite a ways farther than the path that you would go here. The area that you teleport is way off in the distance, behind even the structures that we can see in the background. You can see we're like midway through the ship jumping puzzle. Beams are getting narrower. I don't imagine this was the path Oryx had in mind for us through the Deadnaught, but oh well. I don't know what's up with that very bright circle. Kind of thought that was neat. And now we've got the final tomb ship for crossing over to where the lift will be. And we can see the final platform there. Now, occasionally you'll come across these big kind of structures. They're openings that you can use to drop back into the map. There may be other areas you can drop down, but these are nice and well defined. You can see they kind of go up like a, I don't know, anthill or something. See, there is an additional tomb ship, almost like there's another jumping puzzle. I have to go check that out and see if we can figure out what's going on with this kind of unused space. And after we do that, we can check out that structure up there. So dropping down in this first opening, you can see the lift to the side. It's possible that we could hit the teleport from out of map, which would probably just put us back in map. But unfortunately, this hive ship is right inside of the box barrier, so we can't actually get to it from this side. If you end up stuck down and want to backtrack, the easiest way is to jump, toss a nade, lower your light, and ricochet round. I cut out the respawn timer there, of course. So, luckily for us, there is another one of these openings, just a little ways this way. It is, however, pretty hard to see because of how dark everything is up here. I can see Henry just marked it with a grenade for me. And gotta get around this mesh. And I can just go to the top if I can work out where anything is. Let's just skip to the top. So you can just drop down here and we're outside of the box already. Fun fact, a heavy swing will kill your momentum. So it looks like there's some sort of, I don't know, crude statue sort of thing here. And a couple of light sources. Let's get a closer look. It doesn't seem like you're supposed to see it from here. Those lights are solid, but I'd rather not have any extra spawn points. It's actually fairly difficult to land on top of that ship, and it wouldn't last very long since you'd just get pulled along. Since I didn't touch anything, I can spawn right up top. Now let's get going towards that structure. Even though we've come so far, it's still a little ways away. It kind of looks like the Oryx arena, although it's a lower poly version of it. Just continuing to check for solidness. Sometimes it's better to just fly above. And now we're up close. It looks like we've got a plate of some sort here. And yep, that's solid. So let's go ahead and climb on up. You can stasis climb up the side, but at this point I'm pretty sure you know how that goes, so let's just skip that. Now that we're at the top, unfortunately there isn't any more solid surface to climb on. But before we worry about that, we can enjoy the view a little bit. It is pretty nice. Now let's get up there. Luckily, we can use Z climbing. The center crystal from a Hoarfrost Z barricade will stay in the air. It's a half-size crystal, so the climb is excruciatingly slow. I'll link a full guide below. Anyways, after about 10 minutes of that nonsense, if you are lucky enough to have a partner, you should be high enough to fly above the top surface. As you can see, there's really not any detail at all, since you're only ever able to see it from below. But if we continue past this back wall, you'll see the teleport destination. Still a little ways out, but if you want to impress your friends during a raid and they have, 30 minutes to kill, you can get to the top of the lift without having to take it. Though, maybe don't do that. There are a couple of solid surfaces, and you can see to the side here. You can definitely hit the load successfully. I was trying to go around to the side here to see what was on the other end. Z-Hammer just zipped in through the box full, but unfortunately I didn't go wide enough and ended up pulled inside. I was going to reattempt that, but unfortunately this happened. I just finished regenning some ammo when disaster struck. Henry forgot that that was the active encounter and accidentally started totems. So that was a bit of a bummer. But afterwards, we went and verified using mountaintop sticky nades that you can in fact set up an IRB directly onto that plate. Just go a little bit past the War Priest obelisks, and that works for setting your IRB directly on top of that plate. You'll have to take my word for it, since I'm just spectating Corolla here. We couldn't quite figure out the Autorez in that scenario, but it might be doable. Would sure save a lot of climbing. But for now, that's left as an exercise to the viewer. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this IRB and have fun exploring the upper side of the Dreadnought.